Hey, it's Tef the Lazy Planner Addict, and today we are talking about my predictions for the 2022-2023 Erin Condren Life Planners. I've been covering the planner releases for the past few years. I also run a sticker shop over on Etsy, and some of my stickers are even designed to fit in the Erin Condren Life Planners. So suffice it to say, not only have I seen a lot with the Erin Condren Life Planners, but I kind of work with them every day aside from my own planning. So I'm really excited to tell you what I think is going to happen. Now, some of these things are probably going to be wildly off, and we'll just be able to go back later and laugh at it. But I have to say, we'll start at this from the beginning. A lot of the things that I have to say are kind of fairly safe things that we can guess are probably going to happen, and then they get a little bit more, I guess, out there as we go. So before we do get into that specifically, I do want to let you know I'm an Erin Condren affiliate, but I have not seen the Life Planners, and I have not been told what's happening with them this year. So I just want to get that out of the way. I'm not intentionally keeping any information from you. This is actual guessing, and I am not in on it. But if you haven't ordered from Erin Condren before, I do have a link down there. I guess that was a weird non sequitur, but you can get $10 off your first Erin Condren purchase, or if you just want to support me or this channel, I have an affiliate link down there where I'll get a commission if you use it. Yay! And then I also have a link to my Etsy shop with a coupon code if you are looking to get some planner stickers. So let's go ahead and just jump into what I think is going to happen. Okay, so as I said, first off, we're going to start with the stuff that we can basically guess is true at this point in time. So, for instance, the past few years, we've gotten sneak peek emails, usually throughout the month of April, and it's a pretty safe guess that that's going to happen again. So, sorry, I looked back at my emails, and as I said, they usually start at the very beginning of April, and in the past, they've either come out over the weekend or on the Monday. I'm in Pacific time in the US, and usually they come out in the morning for me. I might have gotten a couple early afternoon some years, but I'm pretty sure they've always been morning, whether it's early morning or late morning. So I'm guessing they probably won't vary too much on the date and time. So if you've seen my sneak peek emails before, I always go over and analyze the pictures we have and the information, see what info I can dig out. Basically, if you're a geek and you've ever seen those video game YouTubers where they go over all the little details in the trailers, that is what I based these videos and these analyses off of initially. So I am tentatively scheduling a live stream next Monday on the 4th of April at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. I have not set it up in YouTube yet, but the reason why I say tentatively is because I don't know what time it's actually coming out. So while I think it's a pretty good bet I'll have it by 2:30 on Monday, I can't guarantee that. So I will keep you guys updated on the community page. In the next few days, I'll also create an event, and then I can change the time if I end up needing to. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that's kind of a tentative thing. And then assuming the first one comes out and I by 2:30 p.m. PST on Monday, then I will then schedule out hopefully weekly from there on Monday live streams to go over the other sneak peeks. But that's the first thing that's kind of half update, half, what we can kind of bet on. The other thing that I can pretty much tell you is going to be true based on what we have seen in past years is that the planner should be available to pre-order sometime in the first week of May. I actually have my Erin Condren planner from last year here so I can look at a calendar. So in 2022, April ends on the 30th on a Sunday. And if I remember correctly, in the past few years that I've looked at these release dates, the only time we've had a very late April release is when sorry, apparently I can't talk, is when the actual month change falls kind of like late in the week, and not like perfectly over the weekend like it does. So May 1st is Sunday. So my guess is that the planner is going to be available for pre-purchase by Erin Condren Insiders either on the 2nd or the 3rd of May. My guess is the 2nd, and then it would be available to the public on the 4th. Again, I don't know if those dates are correct, but based on what I've seen in the past, that is my guess. Usually, Erin Condren Insiders will get access to the planner a couple days early. There's also usually some sort of free gift with purchase if you're an Erin Condren Insider, though I will say that those are while supplies last, and I have missed out on those a couple of times, mostly because I was getting my stuff together to actually film a video. So that's my fault, but if those free gifts with purchases could potentially matter to you, make sure that you are there as early as possible. I will mention I did not have this on my list of things that I want to cover, but some years it's been available on the release date at midnight, and some days you've had to wait, or some years you've had to wait until they basically send the link out at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. or something like that. So I don't know which direction they're going to go this year. So hopefully we'll have a better idea closer to, but I can't guarantee anything either way. Let's see. Okay, so next thing that we can basically guarantee is that Erin Condren is going to send out PR copies of this planner, kind of standard for most brands at this point. Sorry that Opal's being a little annoying, by the way. Maybe I should, before I distract her. Nope. Okay, I'll have to show her to you next time she comes over, but she loves these springs, so I throw them for her when I don't want to distract her, and she's bugging me. Anyway, so what I was going to say is that Erin Condren always sends out PR copies to different influencers online. I have gotten PR copies in the past. There have also been a couple years where I haven't gotten PR copies. So I can't guarantee that I'm going to get a PR copy, but other big people will be getting PR copies. And usually the embargo on those lifts a day or two before Erin Condren Insiders, or at least a day or two before Erin Condren Insiders can actually make their purchases, if that makes sense. So if I end up getting a preview copy, then awesome, I will be able to show it to you. If I don't, what we can do is we can go ahead and take a look at the other preview copies that are going out. That's more of a little like content thing for me. I don't know what those dates are, but there will be preview copies to analyze whether I physically have one in my hand or not. Other things that we can guarantee, we're going to have colorful and neutral options for the planner. That has been a staple. By the way, this is Opie. She is annoying. That has been a staple for years in the Erin Condren Planners. We'll talk a little bit more about themes later, but we know that there is going to be both a colorful and a neutral option for people that like to have their planner more blank or more colorful to start out. And we can basically bet that they're going to have the same binding options for the planner. So you have your spiral bound, you have your soft bound, and oh my goodness, the binder, the binder option. And we can also basically bet that there's going to be the same sizes that we have had in the past years. So this is the 7x9. Previously, this was the only size for the spiral bound LifePlanner. Last year, they also added the A5 and the 8.5x11, whereas previously the 8.5x11 was only available as a teacher planner. Now it is available for LifePlanners as well, and I don't see them taking that away. We can also bet we're going to have basically the same layouts: vertical, horizontal, hourly, daily, monthly. Versions of the LifePlanner often come out a month or so after the other versions of the LifePlanner do. So I'm going to bet that that's going to happen again this year, as well as the teacher and academic planners. Those usually do come out a little bit after the LifePlanner, again, maybe 1 to 2 months. And I'm guessing that's because, you know, a lot of people use those for the school year, and that doesn't start until August, September-ish, depending on where you are. So that's probably why there's a little bit of a delay there, so that people can definitely spend time on each of the different options and one is not eclipsed by the other. So we are going to now go into the things that I can't necessarily guarantee quite as much. We're going to start with the things that I'm a little bit more certain about and kind of move on to a couple things that I'm not. And I have these in more categories versus like, this is the first thing, this is the second thing, this is the third thing. So kind of as I just talked about, but I just wanted to let you know because in my notes I have a lot of things under each heading. So themes, as I said, we would talk about that later. As I said earlier, we can basically bet that there are going to be colorful as well as neutral options. But if you do notice, or if you've seen these in the past, last year we had 3 different theme options, and the year before that we had 2. I don't see Erin Condren doing any more than 3 different theme options. I honestly thought that 3 was a little much. Maybe that's just me, but I can also say, as somebody who does own their own business, it can sometimes be a little difficult to keep track of various variations of very similar products, if that makes sense. So, you know, so we have the vertical planner, and then we have the vertical planner in like 3 different themes. And if I remember correctly, one of the themes came in neutral or opal down. Sorry. One of the themes came in either neutral or colorful. So that's essentially 4 different vertical planners. And then you have the same thing for horizontal, for hourly. I think there was a little bit more of a limited choice for the daily, and then you have that for the binders and the different sizes, and that's just a lot I can see from a business point of view. And as a customer, I didn't necessarily appreciate having all of those options. So I think it's pretty safe to bet that we're going to have at least 2 themes, maybe 3. I highly doubt that Erin Condren is going to do more than 3 different theme options this year. Pause for a drink. All right. So next thing I want to talk about is binder inserts. And Erin Condren, if you're watching, I have been asking for all of the binder inserts for years, basically since these binders came out. So Erin Condren has added some binder inserts. They have added the option to get the daily inserts for the binder, so you don't have to buy the whole binder. But if you want to get a vertical, horizontal, or hourly layout, you still have to buy the binder even if you've bought it previous years. They also have the option to get lined inserts as well as productivity inserts. So that's a page where a lot of it's lined, and then on the edge you have a separated out list with bullet points, though you could ignore the bullet points if you want. Currently, the A5 also has a budget planning insert. On the website, it's labeled as a new arrival, but I went back and looked at my emails and I couldn't quite tell, but it looks like that has been available since December or January. And I can't quite tell because Erin Condren conveys a lot of the information in their emails in images, and after a while they stop posting those images. So at that point in time, I just have to go by what little text there is, as well as subject lines when I'm going back and looking at my old emails. But I was able to confirm it was available in January, so it either released at the beginning of the January or probably sometime in December. That is my best guess. But that's only available for the A5 version of the binder. I believe the binder is only available in A5 and 7x9, by the way. I don't think there's an 8.5x11 version of the binder, though I could be wrong. Anyway, I think there's a pretty good bet, and I should have mentioned this above, except the rest of the conversation didn't necessarily go with it. I think there's a pretty good bet that the budget planning inserts will become available for the 7x9 version of the binder. But I think that there's so much of an opportunity for these binders that Erin Condren is really not jumping on. I mentioned this a couple years ago when I was talking about my Erin Condren predictions, but one of the bigger competitors specifically for the 7x9 binder, and it seems weird to say 7x9 binder because the binder itself is bigger than that, but the inserts inside are 7x9. It's just easier to be consistent across the whole thing with the different sizes of kind of what the pages are. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, one of the bigger competitors for that particular binder is the Happy Planner in their normal size. And if you're unfamiliar with Happy Planner, they're not spiral bound. They have this, like, I think they call it a rollerblade system, and it effectively turns into a binder without having the like clips and unclips. And I have to say, those like little rollerblade things, they're really cool as far as rearranging things, and they definitely have some benefits that a binder does not. But the downside to those is that they are very big and clunky, and if you want to fold your planner like this, you have like this big rollerblade thing on it. And for me, the pages just don't turn as nicely as a spiral bound or a binder does. That is just my personal preference. I love the idea of the flexibility, but the actual execution of how it works is not for me. But they have all sorts of inserts for those, and I would love to see Erin Condren having all sorts of inserts for their binders, both sizes as well. So what I did is I actually looked on the Erin Condren website and saw what kind of petite planners they currently offer and thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if they turned these into inserts for the binders? So here's what I got. They're already offering as petite planners: wellness log, fitness, travel, gratitude, self-care, meal planning, and plant journal. That is so many things. And let me tell you, I would not be surprised if they started offering those. How many people would buy a planner for the year to go in the binder, or just, if they had inserts, oh, I want the vertical and I don't want to buy a new binder, I'll just buy the vertical inserts. Great. And then they buy like 3 of those to go with it. I mean, I think Erin Condren personally could make so much money, and it would make so many more people want to go with the binders, because while the binders do have that flexibility, the downside is that they have that bigger desk footprint if you're somebody who likes to look at your planner all the time. And that's one of the reasons why I never switched over to a binder. But having that much more flexibility with getting pre-made inserts, I think would really bump the binder up to another level. There is currently the hole punch that you can use to hole punch your own things and put in the binder, since the rings are not the standard 3-ring binder. But a lot of people don't want to have to DIY stuff like that. They want to DIY, they want to decorate, they don't want to do the functional stuff. And especially for a luxury brand like Erin Condren, like no one's going to pretend their stuff is cheap. I feel like that is something that they should offer for their binders. The next thing that I want to talk about is, I don't think there are going to be any really huge changes in the layout. This is a prediction I've had for the past few years, so it might not be all that exciting or anything like that. But when I'm talking about big changes in the layout, I'm talking about, are the columns in the vertical version wider? Are the rows in the horizontal version taller or shorter? Are we going to see a huge change up in how the planner is laid out? We've seen small changes every year, but we never see anything hugely big. For instance, with those small changes, the sidebars in the weekly planners often go through a little bit of a metamorphosis. The calendar's moved around a little bit, the style and placement of the month is moved around a little bit, things like that. Sometimes we get a decorative border at the top of the spread, sometimes we don't. Sometimes that varies based on if you're doing colorful or neutral also. So there are other things that can impact that. And then you also have some small changes, like, are the edges of the planning boxes, I guess, for lack of a better word, going to stay curved? Or are they going to go back to being square and angular like they were a few years ago? I personally would love to have all of the rounded corners, or let's see. Here is a blank spread that I'll just show you real fast what I'm talking about in case that is not making immediate sense to you. Sorry, it's taking a minute. Okay, so here is what I'm talking about. So you see how like all the tops and all the bottoms are rounded. They did that, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. I really like that from a design point of view. I will also acknowledge I'm a little bit of a design snob when it comes to some things. So I would love if they keep that the same, but they've really optimized the layout of these planners. So I'm not sure, honestly, how much more they could change for the actual layout of things. Even like these, which I've dubbed the bottom boxes. I don't know if everybody calls them that, but that's what I call them. I don't necessarily see them going away, because previously I know a lot of people just covered that up or didn't use that space. It was effectively dead space in the planner. So adding those definitely made the planner more functional, but there aren't too many other changes you could make. And I will say a lot of sticker planners also do cover that up with washi anyway. So for them, it is unusable. but they were covering that space up with washi regardless. Side note, in my sticker kits, shameless self-promotion, I actually do little bottom box stickers for my Erin Condren kits to go over that, so you can use a sticker kit and keep it as usable space. Anyway, so that's what I'm saying, but sorry, apparently I can't speak. So I don't see how they could make any very drastic changes to the layout of the planner. I think it's mostly just going to be small tweaks that we're going to see in there. And before I go over my last one, I do want to say, since there is a little bit of a delay, if you are watching live, I would love to hear your comments about everything that I've said, or if you have any predictions that I have not mentioned. So go ahead and leave those in the chat. And then I will go over them after I go over this last one, which is going to be pretty darn quick. So that's why I wanted to give you a heads up. All right. My last thing that I think is probably going to happen is I would not be surprised if the prices went up again. I know. Ugh, I hate when the prices go up. So, but everything is going up price-wise. Like, inflation is crazy these days. And I know that Erin Condren had a price increase in the past 2 years. I forget if it was last year or the year before, for their LifePlanner specifically. And as much as I know that it would be really annoying to everybody involved if they went up again, I just wouldn't be surprised if they did. So watch them exceed my expectations and not raise the price. But yeah, I just think they are. I feel like I have to be realistic in talking about this stuff and saying that everything else is going up in price. Why not the Erin Condren planners? My guess is that the price would go up maybe $5. I think they'd get a huge backlash, or even bigger of a backlash if they did more than $10 per planner. So I don't think it's going to be like prices doubling or anything like that. It's not going to be a $20 increase. But, you know, when you're talking about a $60 or $65 planner anyway, an extra $5 or $10, like, on one hand, it's a smaller percent, but on the other hand, you're already paying a lot for this planner, and now they're going to up the price again. So it's going to be really interesting once the prices come out to see if I'm right on this. And it's just going to be interesting to see if I'm right, how much of this I'm right on. I actually couldn't come up with any like super crazy, like I would love for them to do this predictions besides maybe the binder inserts. And I think that's more unlikely just because I've been asking for it for years and not because it's actually unlikely for them to do it. But I would love to hear what you have to say about my predictions and what your predictions are. At this point in time, I don't see anybody in stream talking about their predictions for the life planners. So if you are watching the replay or just had a prediction afterwards, then make sure to go ahead and leave that in the comments down below so we can discuss it. And I was going to sign off, but we just got a comment. So let's see. Biddy Bob says, I would like to see a new layout option with the week on one side and notes page on the other. That is really cool. I hadn't thought of that as an option, but that's what the Hobonichi Techo does, right? I don't know if the cousin has that as well, just in like a bigger form, but I know the Techo does that, and I think that would be so cool. I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. I mean, Erin Condren has done so much innovation in these like standard layouts that they offer that adding a new one would be so cool. And I have to say, I spent a lot of, what would it have been? It would have been late 2020, early 2021, planning in a Hobonichi Techo planner. And mostly, at first it started just to test it because I wanted to make stickers that went in it. And then I was like, oh, might as well keep going with this. So I kind of switched back and forth between that and Erin Condren. And I did love the flexibility of being able to plan my days, plan my week, and then having that notes page there. It was kind of a really nice, in some ways, a really nice combo of like your daily and your weekly style planners, because the daily spreads, obviously you have a lot more room for notes, but as you turn your pages, you don't get to see the notes anymore. Whereas with that, you know, you can kind of keep your notes for the week. There's actually an actual space for them. Whereas in something like the Erin Condren Planners, the way they're set up right now is you have your sidebar, you can put notes in there, and then other than that, you have to flip to the notes page. So that is so awesome. Thank you for letting us know. I would love to hear from everybody else in the comments if you think that having a new layout option with the week on one side and notes on the other side is a good idea, and if that is a planner layout that you would purchase. And again, if you have any feedback or any other things that you'd love to see in the new Erin Condren Planners, please leave that in the comments down below so that we can all geek out about planners together. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, I am tentatively going live next Monday at 2:30 Pacific, assuming that I have the first sneak peek email, which I'm thinking I'll have by then, though I can't guarantee it. And so definitely look out for that. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but I'm also tentatively going to be doing a live stream on Friday of this week. And of course, I lost my yearly plan page, so I don't remember exactly what date that would be. That would be Friday the 1st of April, so April Fools. That wasn't necessarily planned, but I would love to do a Plan With Me live stream, so we're not going to be specifically geeking out about the Erin Condren release. The only reason why I say tentatively on that is because I have not tested my streaming setup for that yet. So if I can't get my streaming setup to work, maybe we'll do a design with me or something like that. I don't know. But keep an eye out for those 2 upcoming live streams, and I just can't wait to see what Erin Condren has in the pipeline for us. And you know what? Before I ramble on forever, I'm just going to sign off and say I will see you